People, back again. Just a few updates. Now, I've come to the realization that everyone is building the same thing, okay? It seems like everyone is building their own individual, like, trading platform. You know, like, I don't know if it's going to be a mirroring platform or, like, whatever else it's going to be, but, yeah, it seems like everyone's got their own, like, little desktop apps going, and it's getting kind of, like, not annoying, like, to see constantly on the timeline, or on the X crypto Twitter timeline or whatever. Some guys built 4 trading bots and he's made, like, you know, a couple 100K and blah 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 blah. Or some guys built a trading bot that trades on Polymarket, you know, and all these things that are happening. It's just like, I just don't know if it's like a psyop, because to me it's like I'm building something, like, you know, in the same bracket, yeah, okay, the same bracket, but it's just not ready yet. I don't know if it's because it's just me on my own. But yeah, there's so many, like, limiting factors to actually trading using this, like, you know, this mirror platform and all the rest of it. The grand scheme of things, right, is that you need to come up with something unique in it. And to me, it's kind of like, okay, have I tailored things enough to justify me actually posting and be like, yeah, I've got this bot, or even like releasing the bot. So, like, for me, it's kind of like I'm trying to perfect it and get as much granular information as possible for free, you know, using this new AI technology and whatnot, to actually get things working in a smooth fashion, to make it as reliable as possible, to make sure that once it goes live, it might actually make me some money. But, like, there's people out there just, like, throwing shit at the wall and just be like, yeah, I built this, I built that, and it's just like, oh man, like, you need to give it up, bro. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I used this prompt earlier today as well, which is quite handy. It's basically just clearing up all of your Claude MD files and clearing up everything and making the context a lot more narrow. In that, what basically this guy is explaining is that over the course of time, like, you know, because Claude MD is like your memory, isn't it? It's kind of like everything you've done, you've put together all the learnings, the exact process, what the actual outcome you want to be is in your Claude MD, and then you can apply skills in subfolders, etc, etc. But over the course of time, sometimes when you're like update the Claude MD folder, it's like repetitive, like contradictory information, and it just sort of like starts to fuck everything up. So, like, yeah, this prompt that I've actually got saved or liked, I put into Claude this morning, okay, and I was just like, right, do this. And it's like, well, I haven't got access to this folder, that folder. So I set that all up fine. And it started doing it. And then instantly, like that, all of my credits were done. So, like, within the space of half an hour, my Claude was basically like, yeah, come back in like 3 hours because you're done for the day. And I couldn't believe it. I don't know if it's the prompt, but on the timeline, a lot of people are saying, like, you know, the same thing. Even the people who are paying, like, you know, the premium $200 a month for Claude are actually, like, you know, hitting limits instantly, or like near enough instantly. So it just brings into question, like, you know, when they said, oh yeah, we're going to 2x your usage, did everyone read that correctly, as in, like, yeah, we're going to give you 2x the usage, or your usage is going to cost 2x for 2 weeks. And it seems like that's what's happened here. So yeah, a lot of people are just sort of like sitting on their hands, twiddling their thumbs, or trying to figure out how to do other things, or stay distracted, or stay, you know, busy. Like, for me personally, I just moved on to Codex. So, like, you know, I paid for ChatGPT as well. And then, you know, I saw a lot of mentions on the timeline about Codex. And I was just like, oh, it's ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. And I was saying it yesterday, if anyone watched the stream. It's just like, I tried to use ChatGPT directly, and it's just, like, horrible. But Codex, it seems like it's okay. So, what I've learned is that during the day yesterday, when Claude was down, or, like, you know, giving me a break, I went to Codex and I carried on working on my project. And you know, it added a load of new files. I'd done quite a bit of work with it. And then I went back to Claude in the evening, and I was like, okay, Claude, there's been some new files added. Like, have a look, tell me what you think. And for some strange reason, or like maybe not a strange reason, Claude, it felt like it got competitive. It was just like, yeah, it's okay, but this, and this needs to be fixed, and that needs to be done, and that can be done better. And it just basically did it. So it's basically iterating on the work that Codex has done, making it better, finding the gaps that perhaps Codex didn't clock. And I know like the more advanced people in this space, the people who are actually like devs or whatever, they've got these two, like, you know, AIs talking to each other. So Codex and Claude, somehow there's a bridge where they can communicate to each other and discuss ideas. And if you've got your project in the middle, perhaps it would be a benefit. The cost, I don't know. I think it's expensive to run both simultaneously in a loop, communicating with each other, discussing ideas, and coming up with something better. So yeah, it's just not a process that I'm prepared to do at the moment. I still want to be hands-on and still sort of like get to grips with how everything works in it. But yeah, I'm having a good time like building that Worldscope. It's coming together nicely. So even then, so I don't know how to explain it. When you wake up for work, right? You wake up with dread in your heart, right? You wake up and you're just like, oh, and it's the same thing over and over again. Every day is the same. The people that you work with, most, you know, you're not going to get along with. I wouldn't say they're assholes because I don't know a lot of people outside of work. But yeah, you just like, you go there, you do your job, you go home, innit? And then you go to sleep, you wake up, you do the same thing again. But when I wake up now in the morning, I'm excited and I've got like new ideas I've slept on and things I want to implement into like my project. Yeah, I'm not making any money from doing this. But at the same time, the iteration and, you know, the constant feedback loop I'm getting just makes me grind even harder because I know I'm close to something here. It might be similar to what everyone else is building, but then in saying that, when I look at what people have built or what they're building, which is like of the same ilk as what I'm building, it's kind of like, are they grifting? Because they've done it in such a fast pace. And the reason why I say are they grifting is because, yeah, you can build out the terminal, you can build out all the other stuff, but the most important thing is the data collection, to me. So if you don't have the data, like basically your bot is pretty useless. Like you can't design a plan around no data. So it's going to take some time to collate that data if you're starting from fresh, unless you buy a data package from a company, which, you know, I'm assuming will cost a fair amount. But if you're scraping data via APIs off of certain applications, then yeah, it's going to take some time for you to store that data, and then you've got to get the AI to actually analyze that data, and then you've got to formulate a plan and then implement that plan into your product. All of that takes time. So when I see like people saying, oh yeah, you know, I built this in 3 days, it's just like, well, how? You know, how have you like built a competent AI that makes good decisions with no way for the AI to actually look back at the data? Now you could say like, you know, or maybe they're running, you know, like the OpenClaw or, you know, Claude Open Work or whatever it's called now. I'll get into that. And maybe that's the case. Maybe, you know, you're paying like hundreds of dollars in credits to keep your bot running, and you know that bot is very profitable, and you know somehow you break even or make a profit on it. But that's just not, I think, the way, the path that I want to take. The path I want to take is like slow and steady, work out any kinks, work out any issues, and you know eventually at some point, there's no rush, eventually at some point it will go live and I can just sit back and just watch my trading bot like get to work. Now if you did watch my content, or if you are following what I'm doing, following along, yesterday I sort of had like, you know, I sort of gave away the grand plan, which was like, you know, an internal voting system for a streaming service, where people would be able to vote in the chat, like by just saying yes or no, or whether or not an automated trade would go through. So I set it all up, had everything ready to go, and the final piece was like, you know, the token gating. So because I don't want to use like, you know, YouTube or Twitch, because of terms of service for one thing, and another thing is like, I'm just not sure if you're allowed to do it. I decided to go with Zora. I stream on Zora. I'm streaming on Zora now, as well as Twitch and YouTube. Now, the reason why I wanted to go into Zora is because it has the content coin. Now, content coins are completely dead, and I understand why now. Because I wanted to use the content coin as like a ticket. So like you would buy a certain amount of my content coin, and that would allow you to actually vote on whether or not the mirror trade would go through. Now the mirror trade is based off of a certain, I don't know, I don't want to say algorithmic, you know, or like, you know, certain numbers, certain criteria that needs to be hit in order for me to get a ping on my live stream. And then from there, if a viewer was watching the stream, they would then click yes or no, and then the trade would go through. And then the OBS would trigger, and the next screen would come up, and it would show the position live on stream. And that way, like, you know, not just you, but also the viewer can see whether or not they were right about the outcome of taking that trade or not taking that trade, or taking that trade. Because if you don't take the trade, it just disappears. You'll see it pop up every now and again now anyway, because I've got it set up. It was at the start of the stream. So every now and again, you'll see a ping, and then above my head, you'll see the little, you know, the emblem, which I've actually spent not all day, but like, yeah, most of yesterday, working on like presentation wise. So like, yeah, that was the idea. So I got to that point where it was all ready to go, and the only thing that needed to be set up was actually the Zora chat. So now I'm delving into the Zora chat, which I spent maybe 4 or 5 hours on yesterday with AI as well. So I burned up all my credits trying to sort it out. And what I found is that, yeah, there's no way for you to get that signal sent directly to your trading bot to trigger the trade. So I've got GigaBrain in the background as the bot set up as well with the SolMD and everything. The bot knows what it needs to do, but it's not going to get the signal from the Zora's chat that's on the right side of this stream that I'm on now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, Zora's a streaming Web3 platform as well as whatever else it's trying to be. So yeah, I went back to Codex and I was just like, listen, we're having this problem. And then we went, you know, we hit up 12, we looked at elements, we've done everything we could to try and figure out like, how do you actually like incorporate that last step into it? So then, you know, it's just actually clean. So originally, you know, with AI as well, it was kind of saying to me like, oh yeah, you know, you can set up a Telegram bot. So like, you know, people could go to the Telegram and vote yes or no. And I was just like, well, I don't want anyone to actually leave the stream. I want people to be engaged in the stream and I want them to stay exactly where they are watching the stream. And a simple click yes or no would be massive for engagement as well. And you know, viewer retention. But it's just not possible. You know, we ran all these different angles, tried to figure it out, looked at documentation, and there's no way for anyone to actually, you know, get involved in the stream via the chat. And it's a shame. And that includes, you know, like if you go onto like, you know, major streaming platforms like Stream or YouTube, people could donate and, you know, it triggers the OBS. Like that's basically what this would be. It's not like you're donating to me, but like, you know, you're just interacting in a sense. There's the trigger up there. You're just interacting in a certain way. And I just don't understand why Zora doesn't have the facility for that. I don't know if it's the extra cost or they've just written it off. So I wrote that post yesterday and, you know, basically claiming like, you know, what's going on with it. And the only thing I got back as feedback was a like from the dev. Where is it? Maybe it's here. Sorry guys, just give me a sec. I posted it somewhere. There. It must be in the replies. Yeah, so, you know, I posted it on X, just like, you know, along with like, you know, a short clip, basically explaining what I wanted to happen and what I wanted to do. Here it is, and I got 2 likes. Oh, someone said something. 2 comments. Hey, great question. When we launched live streaming, I built a super simple chat UI as a personal project in my free time. It's up here. I haven't touched it in a bit, so just a heads up, it might be a bit clunky. If you send me your Zora name, I can get you your live stream ID to plug into GitHub page, which you can pipe into your streaming software. We're working on adding more live stream chats to the API as an endpoint. There you go. Problem solved. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, this is brilliant. So yeah, there you go. So maybe problem solved. I'm just seeing this now. I should reply. I'm just seeing this now. I'm actually live streaming bitching about it. Just give me a sec, guys. Sorry. 1 second. I'm just... Now, so you get a massive view of my forehead. Text. Brilliant. Okay, problem solved. But maybe problem solved. You know, because I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited because, like, yeah. I mean, if I could get this to work, you know, and people actually notice or pay attention to it, it could be like a game changer. You know, a lot of people are doing, yeah, like I said, they're doing the, you know, the actual thing of like this, you know, they're doing that. They're doing a mirror trading platform, or they're doing like a copy trading platform, or they're doing something along those lines. There's a fancy graph and everything like that. But for me, it's kind of like, this is just for me in the background. The whole thing of like, you know, the viewer interacting with a stream is that it should be simple and clean. Okay, and the way it's simple and clean is very simple. They just need to say yes or no. You know, they don't need to have an app to go separately to. They don't need to. I guess the only like hindrance or thing that would actually mess up the stream is the fact that it's on Zora. And in order for you to actually vote, you would need to purchase the content coin, which you can see at the bottom, or like, you know, my content coin is currently, you know, the market cap's like 13k, so it's going to cost you like 10 cents to get 1,000 tokens to get in to vote. And then you can sell it or whatever. The only benefit for me is that I might earn some trading fees if I do get some sort of engagement. Yeah, if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, I could post, or I could probably link to Zora, and then you could, like, you know, if you're interested in partaking in it. It's all very experimental. There are certain aspects to the trades that, you know, perhaps might be janky, might not work out. I.e., like, you know, as you can see at the moment, it's like, you know, it says it's a high conviction trade. So then, yeah, let me go back. So I basically wrote this idea off, and now that's sort of thrown a wood, like, it's just thrown a spanner in the woodwork. So whoever this guy is, I need to, yeah, get in touch with Carter. Let's see, Carter, in Carter's eyes, him, her, okay, he, him, do other things, sometimes artist, Zora, okay, interesting, got a lot of followers, JTOL. What did he say again? Let me see. Hey, great question. When we launched live stream, I built a simple UI as a personal project. So here, I haven't touched it a bit, so clicky. If you send me a Zora user, I can get you a live stream ID to plug into GitHub Pages, which you can pipe into your streaming software. Working on adding more of a live stream chat to the API as an endpoint. Okay, I'm just seeing this. Now we'll look into it. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, that's done. So yeah, I basically wrote off the idea, you know, the whole grand scheme of like, yeah, people can vote yes or no on, you know, live streams, and, you know, partake in the gamble or the bet. You know, the Gigabrain bot is, you know, it had like $100 in it, so it was going to be a very test. It's just a test, just to see if I could get it to work, and then from there, you know, you can move on. Like, you know, if it's reliable, if it's safe, you can start to escalate things. So you go back to refining. So I woke up this morning feeling inspired, and I thought, what else could I add to, like, minimize the friction of the signals that I'm getting? So through last night, I put in what's it called, like this thing here. When people are trading on chain, they have multiple wallets. Some are like, you know, clustered wallets or whatever. So you've got like maybe two wallets, one does one job, one does another job, and, you know, it is where it is, like, you make a profit somehow. I'm not sure how they do it, which is why I've built this platform, because all of this information is basically being collated. I'm collecting data, okay? So my streams will always be, I mean, not my streams, my trades will always be improved upon, you know? So I'm trying to learn how to trade using this platform. I'm not trying to use this platform to trade. I'm trying to learn how to trade, if that makes sense. Because I've been, you know, watching TradingView and doing all of that for years now, and throughout this whole period of time, it's never worked. There are guys who maybe are gifted at it, or they have some sort of knowledge about how these markets work. But for me, it's kind of like, yeah, due to my, like, human intricacies, problems, I just haven't been able to become a profitable perp trader. It's just one of those things. You either hold too long, you either short too much, you either, like, you know, you overtrade, yeah, you trade too, yeah, you overtrade. You just, there's so many things, like, mentally that I found in myself that shows that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So at the end of the day, you just have to just, you know, find a better way or improve. And the only way I can think to improve is to, one, eliminate myself out of the whole trading process eventually, and two, is collect as much data and information and make it, whatever process I put in place, as efficient as possible, which is what this is. It's just me trying to put everything together, and yeah, have a solid trading strategy that I have no control over. There you go. Yeah, so, like, yeah, as you can see, I've said, like, you know, these addresses that I'm following, they're basically the same person, and I can delete them from my list now, or I can delete one of them from the list. But who knows? Like, you know, one could be like leverage long, one could be leverage short, and they're just collecting the meat in the middle. So yeah, those are the ones that to avoid. You can see there's like a call new graph down here. counted as one conviction, counted as one conviction. So when you see in the feed, I get like these high conviction trades. It could be the same person but with different addresses. So that kind of fucks up like, you know, what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I need to look carefully at those things. Another thing that I did this morning that, you know, I woke up and I just decided was that I wanted to incorporate options into, you know, the trading strategy. Not just like, you know, trading options, but like the data that options provide. So like in regards to options, it's like it measures volatility. So like, is there a way for me to, you know, collate information for when, like, you know, a trade, like for instance a high conviction trade like this is saying, you know, it's two whales and they basically shorted, the auto policy is saying that I should wait, and that auto policy basically is the options trading platform giving me data saying whether or not there's been a spike in volatility. Does that make sense? Obviously I've just set up now, so like the data is not very reliable. It's going to take a good while for me to collect data and for it to be analyzed and then, you know, put into practice. But the point is that you need to start collecting the data now, or as soon as possible. And then all of this information that I have here, you know, like it's got like, yeah, you could mirror short it now, just click it, or you could wait. I would wait because obviously the signal from the options platform is telling me, yeah, there's no difference in, you know, the bias. There's no one like, you know, buying long options or buying long or short inputs or doing all that jargon that they do. There's no gamma squeeze. There's no nothing, like, you know, there's no build up in theta or like, you know, theta depreciating, or nothing's there. You know, the expiry is very low, so the theta is high. I think that's how it works. So yeah, all of that information needs to be like packaged up and then rolled into a ball along with, you know, the top 20, 40, how many trades? I got 41 wallets. And when they do a trade, all of that should give me a stronger signal than me just looking at the fucking Ichimoku and saying, oh yeah, you know what, maybe I should go long here, you know, or it's ranging. Those people that are trading, like, you know, when you go on YouTube and like there's those guys and they're like, yeah, you know, I've got this new RSI or some bullshit, like they're dinosaurs now. Like that's basically what's happening, is that everybody has the ability to collate the same information. So the market's going to look very different in the future. And it's going to be like whoever has the best trading bot, whoever has the most data, whoever has the best data, whoever does the best with the data that they have. That's what the future is going to be. So now that I potentially could, you know, progress with my idea, thanks to this guy who just replied to me, and I'm super excited about that now. I also have a second or a third or a fourth source of information, which would be the power of the crowd. Now, people might underestimate, well, people do underestimate the crowd. You know, historically, the crowd have always been like the plebs who get on the train and go to work. You know, they work the minimum wage jobs and all of that. But for people to get onto a stream or catch a stream and click yes or no, if you've got like a high count, it kind of gives you more data, real-time data, that you can also feed into your bot. So like I'm trying to find revenues of like where yeah, you could get different sources of information and data, and I feel like the live streaming crowd, or the crowds that watch streams, are a very untapped market, very untapped. So it's not just about me making money here. Yeah, obviously in the grand scheme of things, you want your bot to be perfect, innit? But the main aim is to collect as much data in the short term, and then the second phase would be to collate that data into one ball of information and then dissect that information to say, okay, what is the best strategy for the bot to take in terms of operating in this crypto market. Okay, and then it will just be automated away, so the bot will go off with that information and it will do what it's going to do. Whether or not it works, who knows? It's just an experiment, but that's the project that I'm trying to build out. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, great that guy's come back to me. So yeah, so then I thought from yesterday, once I realized I couldn't actually, you know, mess with the API or whatever, or the streamer chat or via the API, I thought to myself, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll just continue with the process, and instead of like, you know, the GigaBrain bot being the signal or the processor of the signal, it will just be my trading bot. So I'll just collate information from other sources, which is why I went to the options thing, and yeah, I'll just have the bot trade that way. So yeah, that's the dream so far. Um, and it's not like it's escalated, but like, you know, it's progressing. And I said yesterday as well, I keep going back. I'll always refer back to the previous stream because no one watches my streams anyway. I said yesterday as well. Oh, what did I say yesterday? I forgot what it was. I forgot my train of thought because I'm now thinking about other things. Yeah, it's just one of the things where, yeah, it's super exciting. It's super exciting. So yeah, World Scope, it's coming along nicely. It's also got the, see, I haven't got the algo one. So the algo is basically following all the trades that are happening right now, and that's also data that's being collected. And yeah, it's just overall getting together. So in the wallets like section as well, you can see which ones. So it's got the label of the clusters of these two. So I can just simply click remove, take them out, and then I can click like refresh or add wallets, which is in settings. So just like refresh whales, and then it'll give me a new list of whales, and then just apply it, reset, and we carry on. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about in regards to the project and where it's going so far. As you can see, I'm not trying to tell you nothing. This is all for my benefit. Obviously, for entertainment purposes, it would be cool to see people show up on stream and actually partake in the trades. Obviously, the trades are not going to be exactly perfect, and the addresses that I'm following tend to be. I don't know if they're bots, you know, that are in or out, but there'll be more than one signal for people to vote on. Those votes, which are yes or no's, count for nothing, other than like engagement for me. So yeah, it's just a fun little way of doing something different than, you know, just looking at the screen and be like, look, I built this perp dex and it does trades that do this and that. And it's just like, yeah, let's try and expand. Like, the vision for me as well is kind of like, let me take that off. We have all these like different applications in crypto, like I'd say on the Ethereum network, you know, the L2s on Base, where we have all these different applications, and there's got to be like a unifying factor that brings all of these things together for the main benefit of, like, you know, the individual or the user. So like, yeah, you know, you've got Aerodrome, you've got like Overtime Markets, which is sports. So you got Aerodrome, which is like LPs and stuff. You've got Derive, which is an options trading platform. I guess like even in terms of like other L2s, you could integrate the information from there. And you can even trade in between, you know, using a bot. You know, so you got Hyperliquid, you've got all these different applications that you could actually use to your benefit. Even in the fact of like, if you were to program your bot and it does trades and it makes a profit, you could actually program the bot to automatically send that profit somewhere where it gains a yield. You know, 10% of whatever you make, put it here, and you know, it's a yield bearing, you know, looping strategy. It could just go anywhere. You know, it could go anywhere. And I don't know if people don't see it, or like, you know, people are too selfish to, like, you know, actually embrace the things that have actually been built already. Maybe there's going to be some new like narrative that comes out. Maybe this is the new narrative. But yeah, the ability for people to actually build their own things now is like beautiful. And to be creative with it is the key. So yeah, you have to have some sort of knowledge about not all the products, but the products that you feel will be beneficial to your idea. So like, you could have an individual idea, but like, you know, what could you borrow or take from all these different products that would be a benefit overall to the project that you're building? And that's the key. That is the key. Yeah. I'm not ranting. I'm just talking. USDC stablecoin issuer Circle stock crashes 18% today. I wonder why. I replied to one AI tweet after a week of only interacting with macro news tweets, and all of a sudden my timeline is cleansed and I'm happy and optimistic about the world again. Okay. Yeah, so like, what's this? Giza NPC. Giza's now available as an NPC connector. Any AI agent can now call Giza directly, call ChatGPT. Okay. And that's what's going to happen, you know? Everyone's going to start having their own NPCs and stuff like that. MCPs, sorry. It's weird, isn't it? NPCs. Yeah, okay. Claude, we need air support immediately. Claude, Frolicking, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to rant about. How long was I talking for? Bloody hell, I spoke for 33 minutes straight. That's insane. That is actually insane. What the fuck? Yeah, there was like some tweets. Like, I'm just looking for them now, where it's just like, I built an AI company with OpenClaw. 7 weeks later, I owe you an update. Okay. Claude can't flirt with your girls, by the way. Okay. I like using Twitter because none of my friends use it. That's true. No one I know uses Twitter. Too much yapping and not enough real execution. Shut the fuck up and ship. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to ship or put anything out there until it's like ready. And maybe that's the problem. I guess if I open sourced everything I've done, you would come to the realization that nothing I've done is new. But like, to put it together the way I have, I feel like it's new. There you go. Or the way I'm putting it together is new. So it's just a different way of structuring everything I have. And, you know, more than likely, you know, someone or a team can bang this out in a day and just be like, look, we just did what this guy done. And, you know, at least I have some sort of video evidence that I was on the right trail. You know? And if anything, it would cause me to pivot even more. Here we go. This is what I wanted to find. So, like, even this, like Claude, you can now enable Claude to use your computer to complete tasks. It opens your apps, navigates your browser, fills in spreadsheets, anything you do sitting at your desk. Research preview in Claude Cowork and Cowork Code, Mac OS only. Sadly, I'm not on Mac, so yeah, this is kind of like cooked everyone, isn't it? Dangerously skip permissions. If Trump didn't put you out of a job, this did. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of everyone hyped about this until Claude accidentally sees your open tabs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Is it institutionally grade ready? Like, you know, is this just for retail? Because if it's like a fact of like businesses can actually just be like, all right, I'm just gonna like download the professional Claude, and it's gonna redo all of my books. It's gonna look at my accounts and, you know, cut costs by 50%, Claude. And, you know, like, that's a bit extreme, isn't it? Next thing you know. But yeah, Claude is gonna do things to revolutionize the business sector. I think, like, if you were to open a small business now and have Claude as like your business partner, you would probably outperform everyone on the high street. That's how far I think Claude could go. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay a premium at the beginning, but yeah, just to develop a plan and build it out and, like, you know, start a business, it's just like, it's right there. You know, it's right there. On-chain payment rails as well. You know, like the X402 stuff and all of that. Potentially, it could be a winner as well. Wherein you could build your own sort of payment rails where banks aren't intersecting and taking a percentage of whatever people pay. But the problem with that, right? The problem with that is that people need to be willing to partake in that, you know, in that run. So like, or in that part of it. There's always like, I've never been a developer, I've never built a business in it, but like every time I have an idea, I always think about the intersection or the bridge that isn't there in terms of the user and the business. So like, yeah, I just said all of that with the X402 on-chain rail payments, but like, how many people do you know have a wallet that has USDC or like, you know, digital pounds, which is unlikely, in their wallet that they're willing to pay, or like even crypto that they're willing to shell out? You know, how many of them have even done a transaction on chain? That's the thing, because like sometimes I see numbers and I'm just like, oh yeah, there's like, you know, 2% of the country is on, like, you know, owns crypto. It's like technically they don't, because they've never operated on chain. They don't even know what that means. You know, so like there's still a long way to go in terms of in terms of usage. There's still a long way to go. In regards to like streaming as well, you know, as much as everyone's written it off, like the main proponents who I talked to sort of like disappeared. Everyone's sort of like given up on the idea of like, you know, on-chain streaming. Technically it's not on-chain, is it? Because the Zora is not providing blocks for this stream. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, the Web3 platforms, we're still saying Web3, aren't we? The streaming platforms that, you know, like Zora, PumpFun, Retake, I just feel like they never got a fair shot. And the people that were involved didn't see the potential in this sort of new type of platform where you can actually integrate, you know, new applications that to the benefit of both the person who creates the content and the user. I'm not gonna lie, you know, when it was all going on, I just simply streamed games. You know, like I never got the viewership that I thought I deserved. I guess that's just my ego talking. No one deserves anything, but yeah, the viewership just wasn't there. I looked at other streamers and the effort wasn't there. But yeah, now that you've got the ability to actually program and like build stuff out, the visions that you have, or I had, for Web3 streaming, I can actually bring to the forefront and be like, okay, I've built this, let's see how it works. But yeah, I got that message now. I feel to just end the stream and get cracking. My Claude has actually reset. It reset like 15 minutes ago. And yeah, I'm gonna get it to look at the Codex work that I did while Claude was down, and see what we could do, and then wait for Codex to reset. And then tonight I'll hit up Codex again, and then once that's done, I'll go back to Claude. And yeah, I've got two brilliant platforms where I can just like bounce the products off each other. Obviously, I still need to clean up my my MD files and everything like that. But yeah, I've got a feeling like, you know, in the first half hour I start using Claude, it's just gonna cut off, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, so OpenClaw basically got cooked by this, because that's what OpenClaw does. You know, it controls your computer, it does all the stuff that you want it to do. Obviously, a lot of people, I don't think, are going to be like, you know, instantly logging in. You still have to buy a separate machine to run this thing, isn't it? Because you don't want like your personal data streamed all over. Like, I mean, what's there to lose, really? Like, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people, they worry about their personal data being taken advantage of. Mate, trust me, your data is out there on the black market. You know, your data is being sold. Your passport, everything you can think of is out there already. Like, if you think that you've got privacy, you're having a laugh. And you know, I made a tweet I think it was a couple days ago. I still call it a tweet. It is a tweet, an X post. It's so weird. I made an X. Where is it? Let me find it. TG's a scam. Yeah, Claude. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so the permanent underclass won't be defined by who is rich or poor. It'll be decided by who assimilates and who fights the next step in human evolution. So yeah, I read this book, and you know, like, humans don't evolve like, you know, we don't grow gills or wings, or like, you know, this is not X-Men. The way that humans evolve is through technology. So like, you know, technology has always been the form of human evolution, or an expression of human evolution. So, you know, if you're still riding around on a horse when a guy's whipping past you in a car, you're basically going to be extinct. It's that simple, you know. Like, if you had a heart attack today, right, would you rather someone comes riding up on a horse to save you, or someone comes in an ambulance? You know, it's like the world is built and evolved via technology, as well as humans evolve via technology. So what we're seeing now is an advancement in technology, which is, you know, AI. Now there are like a large proponent of people, the majority, who are just like, it's gonna steal our jobs. You know, we're gonna get cooked, like, or not cooked, like, kids don't. That's what the kids talk like. They're gonna take our jobs. Like, you know, it's destroying the environment. Blah 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 blah. All those people are gonna be on the trash heap, looking for something to blame, and they will blame AI. When in reality, if they just embraced the technology from when it started to emerge, they would still be on an even playing field, if not ahead of the curve. And that's what I sort of learned through my life, getting older. You know, mobile phones, like the internet, all of that stuff happened. YouTube came up, social media. It's like, I'm not going to interact with social media. It's like, who do you think I am? I'm not a clown. I'm not an entertainer. But you see, everyone is going and flocking to social media to make money. You know, everyone's live streaming gaming content, food eating contests or whatever. Like, you know, they're eating, like, you know, they're reviewing chicken shops, chicken connoisseur. It's one of my, you know, one of my things I like to watch when I'm bored. You know, like the guy who eats like substantial food. You know, you got the younger streamers who are doing outrageous things for attention and clout and clicks. And now that market, right, has allowed a few to greatly prosper in terms of social media. You know, I'm talking like the Logan, the Jake Pauls, the KSIs, the Sidemen, the whoever's. Like, you know, everyone's got the Geordies or whatever. All of those people have made substantial amounts of money. They're now getting older. They can no longer really do social media. And now you see a younger crop, and it's more saturated and more outrageous than ever. And that is the top for social media when it comes to content creation in that form. Okay, like money wise, like there's no more to make. You know, like you can still stream like cool video games, like, you know, if you're good at the game as well. And you're managing to get like 60,000 viewers a day by being an entertaining content creator. You know, yeah, there's still a floor for it, but the floor is a lot higher, and the expectations are a lot higher. In terms of like, you know, of outrage, and also in terms of like skill and entertainment, the entertainment factor. So you as a person is the selling factor, right? So yeah, my point is that there needs to be another avenue for people to make it. Okay. Originally, I think a lot of people in Web3 and in crypto assumed it would be via tokenization, not realizing that the powers that be are like, yeah, tokenization is cool of the dollar, you know, of a stable coin, of a dollar that we control. That's tokenization. Okay, yeah, we're gonna tokenize our stocks that we control. You know, like everything that they control, they will tokenize and they will still control it. So no one's gonna trade your fucking Pepe coin or your, you know, your new meme coin anymore. The meme coin thing was the saturation and, you know, the explosion and the top of crypto, in my opinion. You still have like good base cases for like things like Ethereum or Bitcoin, but in order for those prices to move substantially, market caps need to rise substantially, which requires institutional investment. So who controls institutional investment? They do. So like, yeah, there's not really much out there that, you know, it's not like it was in 2017. Let's just put it that way. 2017, a coin would drop with a white paper that said penis and it would still run to, you know, a couple multi-millions or whatever, you know. That's how it would work back in the day. So yeah, AI is the new, it's the new Wild West, to steal the term from the Bankless boys. It's the new Wild West. Yes, you know, it's going to iterate fast. Yes, competition is fierce, in my opinion anyway, from what I'm being fed on the timeline. Yes, there will be LARPs. Yes, there will be scams. Yes, it's going to be like a rough road. But if you just stay the course, if you just like, you know, constantly iterate on one thing and just constantly build it out, at some point you're gonna hit something. I'm not saying it's gold, I'm not saying it's the future, like, you know, but you're gonna hit something, or you, at the very least, you're gonna learn something. So like, yeah, AI is definitely the next, or it is the thing to be doing right now. It's definitely the thing to be doing right now, 100%. Yeah, it's giving you the ability to express yourself in ways you couldn't even comprehend, did it? Like, you could, like, it's insane. Like, my mind is blown. Every morning I wake up excited because I'm thinking of what I could do today. So yeah, it's gonna be, yeah. Anyway, I'm ranting now. So what else has been going on? Yeah, the crypto markets just fucking with you, innit? It's like you thought it was gonna break out, it's not gonna break out. It's literally just sideways into sideways into Hades. This reminds me of, like, you know, those 6-month sideways processes. Like, that looks like it wants to break out in it, but you know it's just gonna fucking fade away. You know it's gonna fade away. I wouldn't trust any signals other than, you know, what I've got here. But even then, like, these mirror trades, I would say I'm not even trying to like, you know, do anything specifically with it. Is this actually my worst scope? Is it not? Oh yeah, that's my positions. Yeah, so the algo's on, it's collected data. Where is, let's see, is that still live? Your position, yeah, so it's still live. Yeah, so that's the thing, like, even in terms of options, like, I was trying to set up for like both ETH and BTC and there was like some sort of issue with it. So yeah, I've only got ETH at the moment, but ETH is probably the trade that you want to make now. I feel like it's still extremely undervalued for what it is. You know, Stripe just made an announcement that they're going to be putting a load of things on chain on ETH. So, you know, I feel like there's still room for it to grow. But like a lot of the shitcoins that have been out or are out, you know, people could build around them, people could try and do things with them, but I just don't think it's the play. I think the job of any retail person that's been here for a long while, who's made a little bit of money, is doing okay, is to try and build out a product that they've always wanted to have. Yeah, you know the guy. Like, you try to tell me, like, anyone who's been in crypto for 2 cycles hasn't thought of an idea or a product that they've wanted to build, and, you know, just thought, oh man, I wish I had the technical skills, or I don't know the guy, or this, that, the other. No, it doesn't matter now. You could just build it. Not even like just build it, just start it and see what happens. You know, all with the power of AI. It's amazing. All the naysayers, I couldn't care less. I could not care less. Anyway, that's what I've been up to today. I've been streaming for 50 minutes, talking non-stop. So I'm gonna leave it there before you guys, you know, get tired of hearing my voice or you get a headache. Yeah, at some point, hopefully, after the information I just received today, votes will go live, which will be insane if it actually works. I knew someone was out there doing something, honestly. But yeah, I'm going to get closer to look at this guy's GitHub. after I have it analyze all the work that Codex has done in terms of the options information that I've applied to Wellscope. So yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of hours for me, I think, before the wife gets home. I've actually got to make dinner. Oh, shit. Chicken legs today. Chicken legs. What do you reckon? Yeah, chicken legs. Could like roast them. Easy. Easy. Alright guys, I hope everyone's doing well. Enjoy your Tuesday. Wednesday tomorrow, hump day. I'm sure there's like some sort of information from the Fed or something's going on, but who cares, right? Like, Trump is the one who makes the decisions on where the market goes. We all know that. We all know that. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow around the same time with updates. Yeah, if there's any feedback, leave something in the comments. I'll read them. I might reply. You never know if I'm not too busy. Yeah, like, follow, subscribe, as the kids would say. And I hope everyone's doing well.